Thank you so much. You're only welcome to Speak English Language with Confidence tutorial by Emmanuel Bodu. Today we are looking at our 12th rule of subject-verb agreement. So our concentration will be on a subject followed by a prepositional phrase. So let's quickly look at the meaning of preposition, examples, and prepositional phrase before we proceed to the rule. A preposition is a word or a group of words used before a noun or pronoun to show either a place, position, time, or method. Generally, prepositions are words used to show the relationship between one noun and another, and we may have simple prepositions like across, after, against, along, alongside, in, on, before, behind, near, below, beneath, beside, between, out, through, under, until, opposite, without, within, underneath, towards, and among others. We may also have a complex or compound preposition like along with, as to, apart from, away from, according to, afflict with, agree to, agree with, aim at, and so many others. So these are some of the examples of prepositions we are aware of or we know already. So now that we have understood preposition, let's quickly look at prepositional phrase. Now, when you talk of prepositional phrase, all what I want you to put in your mind that any group of words that begin with a preposition becomes a prepositional phrase. So if you have a sentence like the book is on the table, the book is on the table becomes the prepositional phrase. It is prepositional phrase because it begins with a preposition. So most at times prepositional phrase begins with one or more preposition. So let's quickly look at the rule. So let's look at rule 12a. So the rule says that a singular subject followed by a prepositional phrase which has a plural noun in it must agree with a singular verb. So let's quickly look at the examples that it enables us to understand it very perfectly. Now, so example 1 said the design of the cars are beautiful. So what does the rule say? The rule says that a singular subject followed by a prepositional phrase which has a plural noun in it must agree with a singular verb. So the example 1 says that the design of the cars are beautiful. So let's identify the subject in this sentence. So the subject is the design, not the cars. The subject in this sentence is the design, and from of the cars becomes the prepositional phrase. Because the subject is singular, which is design, we are going to take singular verb. So the correct answer will be is. The design of the cars is beautiful. Note that the cars can't be the subject in this sentence, but rather it is the design. So from off or begin with the off to the cars becomes the prepositional phrase. So when you get a sentence like this, make sure that you break down the sentence in two parts, the subject and the prepositional phrase. Make sure that if the subject is singular, it must go with singular verb, and if the subject is plural, it must also go with plural verb. Let's move on to the next example. The misunderstanding between the teachers and the students. The misunderstanding between the teachers and the students are very bad. The subject in this sentence is misunderstanding, but not the teachers and the students. Because from between to the students, there is a prepositional phrase. And the prepositional phrase starts from between to the student. So it can't be the subject, but rather prepositional phrase. So the main subject is misunderstanding. Once misunderstanding is singular subject and it follows by a prepositional phrase which has a plural noun in it, must agree with a singular verb. So the correct answer will be S. So the understanding between the teachers and the student is very bad. Let's look at the next example. The invention of trains, cars, and planes have become a blessing to humanity. So you could see that we have the main subject, which is the invention. So from off to trains, cars, and plane become the prepositional phrase. So trains, cars, and plane are not the subject and cannot be the subject. So the subject in this sentence, the invention. So the invention is singular subject, therefore it must go with singular verb, which is has. So the invention of trains, cars, and plane have become a blessing to humanity. Let's look at the next example. Smoking of cigarettes and marijuana affects your health condition. So let's break it down. The subject is smoking. From of cigarette and marijuana becomes the prepositional phrase because it begins with a preposition which is of. So the subject is a singular subject and must go with singular verb, which is affects. So smoking of cigarette and marijuana affects your health condition. Now, it is not that always the prepositional phrase will begin with of. There are several prepositional words that I mentioned, and there are some of them that you know them already. So once it begins with a preposition, make sure that you do not confuse yourself with the subject. So smoking of cigarette and marijuana affect your health condition. Let's look at the last example. The unruly behavior of Ghanaian soldiers and police officers these days is unfathomable. So the subject in this sentence is behavior, but not the soldiers and police officers. Once we have identified the subject, which is singular, the verb must be singular. So starting from the of Ghanaian soldiers and police officers become the prepositional phrase. So the correct answer will be is. The unruly behavior of Ghanaian soldiers and police officers these days is unfathomable. Now let's look at the part 12b of a subject followed by prepositional phrase. Now the rule 12b says that a plural subject followed by a prepositional phrase which has a singular noun in it must agree with a plural verb. I believe this is self-explanatory. So let's quickly look at the first example. Parts of my teacher's laptop have been removed by the student. Parts of my teacher's laptop have been removed by the student. So the subject in this sentence is the parts. So the parts referred to us as plural subject, and for that matter it must go with plural verb. So parts of my teacher's laptop have been removed by the student. So starting from of my teacher's laptop become the prepositional phrase. Number 2, the wives of the king. The wives of the king is now pregnant. So wives become the plural subject and it must go with plural verbs are. So the subject is the wives but not the king. Example 3. On the front pages of Daily Graphic were a story about the new variant of COVID-19. On the front pages. So the subject is front pages. On the front pages. And the pages referred to as plural subject. It must go with plural verb, which is where. So on the front pages of the Daily Graphic were a story about the new variant of COVID-19. The next example says that the pictures of the president were the subject. The subject is the pictures, but not the president. The pictures become the plural subject, and it must go with plural verb, which is seem. So the pictures of the president seem very controversial. Now let's test our understanding on the following questions. So choose the correct form of the verb to complete the sentences below. A careful study, that is number 1, a careful study of our annual reports indicates that an excellent work has been done. Number 2, the migration of rural dwellers to urban centers have become a problem to government. Number 3, workers at Okomfanoche begins work this month. The best years of my life were the times I spent in the university.